Welcome back to another episode of The Mortgage Musketeer, where today we're going to be talking about what is going to happen to interest rates the rest of 2023. Okay, so first of all, let's get it out there where, of course, I can't accurately predict that. Nobody actually knows what's going to happen, but I can actually give you a really good sense of what we all believe is going to happen based off of what happened in the past, what is happening now. We can predict what's going to be happening in the future. So what happened last year was the fastest mortgage rate increase in history because the Fed had the fastest rate increase in history. So it really jacked rates up from the 2 and 3% range. And then that was fantasy land because of COVID anyway. And it was the Fed actually driving it to the point where we could get rates down to help the economy stay afloat, people refinancing, saving money. It really kind of helped. The housing industry in this instance actually helped keep the economy afloat. And then inflation started to move, and they were too late to stop that and get off of quantitative easing. So what ended up happening is the inflation rate got out of control, and they were too late in actually instituting raising the interest rate. So instead of gradually raising the rates to keep inflation down, inflation began to get out of control and started raising rates and rates and rates and rates. And so that constituted the fastest interest rate hike in history. So we went from like the 2 and 3% range to 7, in some places 8% mortgage interest rates. Now, it is important to understand that when the Fed raises rates, the Fed raising rates does not automatically mean mortgage rates goes up. Okay? So the Fed rate has an indirect impact on it, but what really impacts mortgage interest rates, what tells us what the interest rates are going to be, is mortgage-backed securities. And mortgage-backed securities are mainly impacted by inflation. So as inflation went up, so did the interest rates. So as they tried to reel it back in and they're raising the Fed rates, it had a whole bunch of other indirect impacts. But if the Fed raises rates, there are times at which mortgage rates will go down. Okay, so I need you to understand that first and foremost. So indirectly impact, yes. Directly impact, not necessarily. Now, having said all that, where do we sit right now? Well, as of today, we're kind of like in this period where we're really trying to get a good sense of where we're at in inflation. So what the Fed has done by raising the rates so quickly, it's kind of like going to the doctor's office and getting a shot, and then looking at you going, I don't think that's working. 30 minutes later, give you another shot. I don't think that's working. Another hour later, give you another shot, and another shot, and another shot. So instead of gradually raising rates to reel in inflation, they just keep on raising interest rates from the Fed side. And that is having an impact on the economy. And you've seen what's happening with the banking system. All right. Now, with mortgage-backed securities, we're waiting for all of that to hit inflation. The other issue is that inflation is a lagging indicator. So it's a 12-month lagging indicator that they're actually using to measure what's happening with inflation. So what they've done now is they have basically raised it so high so fast, and they keep raising it, that they have basically over-medicated the economy. So now, once all these lagging indicators and all the noise, because there's a lot of artificially inflated numbers with the jobs numbers and a whole bunch of other things that are impacting the outlook on mortgage-backed securities, all that's going to start to settle down, and we're going to get rid of a lot of that noise, and we're going to start to see truly where we are with the economy. When that happens, we're going to see the inflation rate goes down, and as the inflation rate goes down, that's going to impact mortgage-backed securities. It's going to be something that people will be more willing to invest in. As that happens, it's going to begin to bring mortgage interest rates down. So over the next 12 months, we're going to begin to see interest rates continuing to drop. So the general consensus is that we could at some point get back into the 5% range. Nobody really actually knows what's going to happen or how long it's going to take. But what we do know is that from these lagging indicators, remember, it's like this 12-month sliding window. As all of this core inflation information comes in, it's going to start to show that the economy is still doing okay, but that the inflation is coming down. And then what's going to happen is it's actually going to flip, and we could be heading into a recession. When you end up going into a recession, the only way that the Fed has to fight that is to lower interest rates. So they keep talking about like the soft landing. that they are completely going to miss. So we're going to have a hard landing, which means that they have over estimated how much they need to raise interest rates to the point at which they almost cripple the economy. And then it's going to come crashing back down the other way. And then people are going to go into a recession. And then the only way to fight that is to lower the interest rates. And then it's going to bring stuff back down again. So that's really where we see things going in the future. So not so great for the economy. Pretty good for interest rates. But you do need to reframe interest rates. 2-3% interest rates was fantasy land of COVID. We're not going to see that again. We'd be lucky to see 4%. Could it happen? Maybe. Nobody can predict the future. Nobody can predict a pandemic. But understand that from just from a mental standpoint, where people are like, oh, I'm going to wait. It's probably not really wise to wait. I'm going to do another video on that, the cost of waiting, because the other issue that we have is lack of inventory. Stay tuned for the next video for that piece. Until next time, it's all for one and one for all.